Stopping your child's emotions does not mean that that emotion is done. And it also doesn't mean that your child is in the ventral vagal zone, which some people might call this the green zone or the learning and cooperation zone. Our nervous systems are designed to move through emotions, not just skip over them. And that's something I learned long before I ever became a homeschool mom. I'm Amy, a former special educator turned homeschool mom, and I help homeschool parents of kids with big behaviors understand what's really driving those behaviors so they can create more calm and more cooperation at home. When I was teaching in autism classrooms, I spent a lot of time observing and responding to my students' emotions playing out. I wasn't just watching the behaviors that came, I was paying attention to what their nervous systems were communicating. And at first glance, it probably looked like I was spending too much time on emotions, if you were to ask some people. After all, we had academics to teach, we had schedules to keep, we had curriculum to get through, and yes, on paper, I was probably spending more time helping children move through hard emotions and hard moments than many people would have thought necessary. But during that time, I realized that helping a child move through a hard moment was not taking away from the learning. That was what was making the learning possible. Because once my classroom and my relationship with those students became a place where they felt safe enough to experience overwhelm instead of constantly being corrected for it, I actually spent far less time managing behaviors later. There were fewer escalations, fewer repeated conflicts, less time trying to figure out why a child was struggling because I had already learned to decode what their nervous system was telling me before the behavior got so big. So slowing down at the beginning actually ended up saving a lot more time in the long run. I think homeschool parents feel this pressure all the time. We feel like we have to keep moving through the lesson because we don't want to lose instructional time. But children don't stop having nervous systems just because math is on the schedule. Sometimes the most productive thing we can do isn't pushing through the lesson. It's recognizing that helping a child move through a hard moment is part of the learning. Not because emotions disappear after we address them, but because when a child feels safe enough to move through their emotions, they are much more able to return to learning on the other side. If you're interested in understanding your child's behavior and you want this new perspective and to dive into it, I'd love to have you in our free Facebook group, Homeschooling Kids with Big Behaviors and Emotions. We spend a lot of time talking about kids with big behaviors, homeschooling, and what behavior is really trying to tell us. You can find the link in my bio, and don't forget to follow along for the rest of this week's series on the polyvagal theory and nervous systems.